Hello, SpeedGaming. Welcome to Tam versus MrByer. No Logic Tournament 2024. This is their game 2 in the winner's bracket quarterfinals. MrByer took a game from Tam last night. So Tam has to fight for a reverse sweep to stay in the winner's bracket. MrByer wins this race. He will advance to play the winner of Krithel and me, Malmo. I am joined tonight by Spleeby. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Good evening, everyone. Excited to see some glitches.
Yep. I'm also excited to see a sword in Sanctuary for MrByer.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those locations that you can tree warp.
That?
And you can tree warp this one too if you wanted. Okay, we got ambiguously colored rod.
Ice, I think?
Ice.
Yeah, it's ice.
I love
it's on
rod.
their item now.
Our tracker who's watching the same feed that we are can tell the difference between fire rod and ice rod. Because he's just built different. And Tam is doing one of the common openers of swimming to Ice Rod Cave and then water walking out to do the Zora checks. Normally I'd talk about how this stuff is in logic because you're expected to do water walks, but this game doesn't actually expect anything of you. It just puts items in random locations and you just have to find them.
It leaves us to play it however we want, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely leaves a lot of room for personality expression. By the way, that boomerang that Tam found is actually a pretty good item in No Logic. Depending on whether you also get the hook shot, it can be a multiplier for hook pushing, basically making it more powerful, making you able to do things like reach Trinex without the cane. For now, it's just a boomerang, and Tam is happy to have an item that hits switches. So Tam is setting up for a corner setup for this clip. You can clip in pretty much any part of the lower half of the slope, and you'll get to the out of bounds area and be able to walk around. But what Tam is doing is a faster way to get to the big key here.
Oh, it's so slick. I never learned that setup.
I tried to learn it, but it has so much soft lock potential, I just didn't bother.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that walking Zora there, though.
Both times I've seen someone do that trick, the walking Zora just simply cannot reach you there. It looks scary, but I think it's safe.
Wonder how many pixels in you need to be before it's out of the way.
I didn't catch what was on Lumberjack for MrByer. I'm assuming he checked it because that's how he gets up here.
Yeah, I missed it too.
We've been running on a pretty hot streak of Lumberjack not being useful. Even when it is useful, not being worth it. Tam skipping the full heart container. That might look insane, but later on, you start having to do a lot of death warps and other things like that. You start to regret all the hearts you picked up in the early game.
Yeah. MrByer got that Hera big key that we didn't need, but...
Hera big key's actually really good. I think that's probably one of the better big keys to find. It's not... Obviously, you can skip it. You can go to pod and wrong warp, but having the Hera big can save a lot of time in the seed and give you an early boss. That looks like maybe the tip of a heart piece on Lumberjack, on Tam's side. As you can see, they're really just doing the same things in slightly different order. The opening route doesn't matter that much. It's usually the early to mid-game stuff that has the biggest impact on the items that people find. And then trying to figure out what Tam is thinking about here. Probably just AFKing. I don't think there's much to think about in Hera. Yeah, so you want to... Sometimes you want to actually use the Hera Big Key door to do other glitches. Some doors are valuable as doors because you can do glitches in them to cause effects. For example, the desert small key door, which you can get the items with nothing, but actually opening the door can be valuable in and of itself.
Right, the Hera big key door used to be more important, right, than it is now.
It is a little less important now. We still sometimes need to delete the sewer door for like medallionless mire, but if you get hook pushing, you don't need to do that anymore. So it definitely isn't done as often as it used to be.
Is that just bombs inside spec, or I thought it was a bottle, but it must not be because
I guess not, yeah.
they're not going for it.
Neither of them got it. But it could be that they will get it like on the way to pod or something, if it is something good. Because they haven't rescued the old man yet. Both of them doing the mountain in that order kind of makes it hard to go too far out of your way in places where you might die. Because then you'd have to climb the mountain again. Yeah. MrByer having a little trouble with that chest. I don't even think he was trying to chest turn. I think he was just missing the chest.
Yeah.
Which is even funnier. Oh, this is interesting. He says no. So MrByer likes to buy his bomb upgrades here. It's this new thing, is instead of coming out of Mini Moldworm Cave and doing it,
Oh, really?
he just uses the water walk. Which means that he's saying no to the Swamp Palace Big Key. Which is good, which is fine. It's the Swamp Palace Big Key. It's almost never used. But that could have been a better Big Key and could have been valuable.
Two bomb upgrades.
I think it's insane to forego a Big Key, but maybe he doesn't know the clip that's fast and doesn't want to like also waste a bunch of time walking all the way around for a Big Key. Most people would skip a small key if they can't get to it instantly.
I guess how often is Zora checked in No Logic? Probably not very, right?
It's pretty rare. You can do it if you're like at that area late and you want to leverage that advantage. If you don't think that you're going to be doing a lot of potion glitches, or if you just have a lot of money, or you know how to get it, like if you have good tree pulls. All right, we got some good sync going on.
Right, so normal like logic rando, you could say, well, maybe we'll get it when we come back for Zora, but that's probably never.
Yeah, never. They're not. I don't think he's gonna come back for Zora unless he thinks a Big Key would benefit him.
We'll get it when he says, maybe that Big Key was a good one, and decides to go get it.
Yeah, my go mode is some way to get to Turtle Rock, and you know, maybe that Big Key is the Turtle Rock Big Key. It could be.
We are picking up lots of money, though.
I almost wonder if the fact that he has Thieves, or the Tower of Hera Big Key is part of that decision. It's like, he already found one of the really good ones. So, the odds of that Big Key being really good, which in this case would probably be the Desert Big Key, is just pretty low.
See, both of these runners threw that bomb very late. I recently learned from DoomTab you can throw the bomb as soon as you're around the corner. Like past the slope.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's like plenty of room to stand there. You don't have to wait for it to explode. Nice.
Is that because it clips into the wall slightly?
I have no idea.
Tam is doing... Okay, we got some dual jukes. I love this.
Double bomb juking.
Oh, we're in sync.
Nice sync.
Let's go. Oh, Tam is going to desync by showing us the item. But it didn't matter because there was a Big Key with a text box, which is also valuable because the Gannon's Tower Big Key is one of the 4 Big Keys in the game that will open Big Keys, open Big Key doors and Big Key chests while you're in a cave. And we are often in a cave as a way to access dungeons. For example, pod will usually be done in cave state.
The
yeah,
beeps
sorry.
are
It's
so
not.
fast.
We'll see how long we stay on Tan's audio.
Tam, please get some hearts.
Tam already said no to a heart in the Lost Woods. Tam is
That was
also
a
just
container. Recovery hearts are
multi-buying.
fine.
I love it when people go back in twice for the item, just knowing that I'm just going to be using a lot of these and still run out. In my experience, like the number you have as your max almost doesn't matter. Like 10 is too low. I think we all agree on that. But I don't know. I've like bought up to 25 and still run out. I think you just have to sometimes make multiple trips to refill.
I mean, other than no logic, I think doors is the only other mode that I see people buy capacity upgrades for.
Interesting.
So
I sometimes see people doing an entrance opportunistically. Like they'll walk in and be like, "Oh, it's the capacity upgrade shop. I'm never coming back here again. I'll just buy the upgrades now."
yeah, that can happen too. They do have to use a lot of bombs in entrance.
You can get away with 10, I think, if you have good prize packs. Like if your Moldorms and Baris are dropping bombs and arrows.
Tam doesn't know about the redash.
Oh, the redash. Alright, we're here to educate everybody about the redash. You're in Spiral Cave, and the second Bari is electrifying, and you have a sword. You don't stop and slash the Bari. You just stop and redash. You want to bleed a little time. You can do that by like stopping and canceling upward. But you usually don't need to do any extra actions because the timing just works out that you can dash through the Bari most of the time. Unless you're extremely tight with your movement.
Yeah, just waste a little tiny bit.
Just, you know, be like a 135 NMG runner for a little bit and you'll be fine.
Like if you think you don't know what like wasting time, like then don't worry about it. Just stop and dash again. Like, so you have to be extremely precise to get zapped there.
I think it happened to me once. And like, okay,
I did it on purpose the other week, just so I could show that it does happen.
So Mr.
Anyway,
Byer,
we were talking about all that. I did
we were
not
talking
see
about that.
anything that
Mr.
they
Byer
got.
has the cane in the escape. I actually missed whether that was in the... Was that in the Hyrule Castle or in Castle Tower, Uncle? Because he was in all of them. Actually, he may not have been in Uncle yet, but he's been in Castle Tower for sure. Okay, Castle Tower had Ether, which is something Tam might miss out on. A lot of people will just not do Castle Tower at all. Depends on how you approach Hyrule Castle. You might not be able to enter it. Mr. Byer did a clip that guaranteed entry into Castle Tower, but if you're approaching from the bottom, then you're probably not going to go in. So far, Mr. Byer has the equipment advantage. Cane of Samaria is a really powerful glitching item. And it's a good incentive for Byer to maybe start thinking about going to Kakariko and Desert.
Finally going to Kakariko.
I would say this is an appropriate time to go to Kak.
Oh yeah.
Because you want to be able to do some of the glitches in Desert that get you to Thieves Town Attic. Because of how good it is to go to Thieves Town Attic early. The early Thieves Attic makes the return to Thieves a lot more efficient. Especially if you're coming from the Uncle Cave and going straight to the Maiden Cell. Because what you don't want to do is go to the Maiden Cell and then have to like leave the Maiden behind, go up and bomb the attic, and then backtrack back to Maiden Cell. Like, it's a lot better to just do it in Desert most of the time. Cam is still on 3 hearts, has half the HP of Mr. Byer. And we'll be doing... Oop, we got a 4th art. Makes Moldorm a little safer. You saw them having to, like, farm hearts in Petting Zoo to make up for that. Didn't even hit the switch. Oh my goodness.
Oh, they got 3 hearts. That's plenty.
That's all you need. If you get hit, you fall anyway.
I mean, I don't think they're a huge NMG streamer, or runner, but I'm pretty sure Tam has a pretty good time.
I'm pretty sure they have like a 125, right? Or a 126.
Let's check. Yeah, 125.13.
Yes. Ooh, it's a sword and Kakariko and silver arrows, which we didn't mention, but they were in blind hideout. It's just good equipment for their early game. The main thing that MrByer is missing right now is some kind of fire source, which is always needed. And then you also always need a fire rod and an ice rod if Trinex is required.
Oh, I didn't scroll the weather vane far enough. There we go.
You also need the if you don't need to kill Trinex, then you might need something to kill Cold Stare, which should be fire rod or bombos. We do put 2 of each rod in the pool to make sure that the game is beatable and to make sure that the game is competitive, because sometimes you just have a seed where you find all of the items that make the game easy before finding your rods, and that's not very fun to race. The MrByer finds his stick
lamp.
lamp. Does Tam have the same bottle that MrByer has?
I don't know. Different bottles.
That's what I thought, because I thought I saw MrByer enter Kakariko with no bottles, and then I saw him checking Sick Kid. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because Sick Kid is a really impactful location in the seed. The lamp is a really powerful item. It's not just a fire source, but it sets some variables that might make some late game glitches more possible and more easy. It's something that Tam could do with just the powder if necessary, but definitely a lot better to have the lamp because you can set those variables on the fly and not have to plan ahead as much, and you get to chain those glitches then not just do one of them.
Yeah, so MrByer bought a red potion in Kakariko. Is he gonna use that to get to Thieves Town, or are we just using a cane?
The MrByer is an interesting choice to make here. You might actually go to Thieves Town twice. And the reason I'm saying that is because the cane gives you a way to steal a key into Desert. So you go to the attic with the cane, and you bomb the floor, and then you backtrack to the spike room, collect the key, and death warp out. And then you use that key to get Desert right side, and then you also have that door open, which you can use to get to Swamp. The Desert's a really powerful dungeon. But then MrByer also found the Desert Big Key. And having the Desert Big Key in the bottle allows him to also kill blind, but he can't do both of them on the same trip. It looks like what he's doing here is he's not going to bother with any Samaria stuff.
Are we just gonna quadrant glitch
get
it?
the items. Yeah, he's just gonna get the items and then probably use the bottle and ignore all the cane stuff. This is fine for now, but it does lock him out for now of doing the swamp stuff. He's not gonna be able to break into the back of Swamp using that door because the door isn't open.
Or we get a little funny camera scrolling and we're in right side desert.
Yep. You might be familiar with quadrant glitch, just something that happens to you when you're like in the GT climb and it's super unlucky, but
Usually you don't like to see it.
yep. But we use it largely thanks to MrByer, who spent a lot of time looking at different ways to use quadrant glitch. This is one of the older methods, predates him racing no logic, but he looked at this and said, like, where else can we do this? And we might see something from Tam that's kind of similar. There's a double bomb juke in here that you can use to get to Hookshot Cave. There is also a quadrant glitch version of this that I think also, I don't know if MrByer discovered that. The bomb juke is definitely something that was around but forgotten and then rediscovered by some, people who just always knew how to do it. Started doing it and they're like, oh, what's this?
Oh, another cave stay big key.
That's also the Thieves Town Big Key, which means that the stuff MrByer is doing might not matter as much, given that Tam could just go to Thieves Town. Especially if the Pearl shows up. It could be easier to just do it from the front. The old way of doing pod quadrant glitch was the bumper. Yeah, I don't know how old that is though. Like, is that biotech or is that older? So what Tam did was a door juke that unlocked their cameras so that when they finally take a subtile transition again, back in that spot where they originally did the door juke, they could get to Hookshot Cave. It just transitions them like an extra tile over. So the camera's broken. One of the benefits to this is that when you exit, you're not actually in the dark world, so you can do these checks without the pearl. But Tan is missing some things that I think MrByer would benefit from having here, which is like the Cane of Samaria to go into Turtle Rock, for example. They could go in and loot the place. It might be more likely that Tam goes to Ganon's Tower from
There's
here.
a hammer in the Thieves' Town.
There is. We won't be seeing... Yeah, we'll be seeing... Actually, we will be seeing this because we're in... No, we're in desert. We're not in cave. Yeah, we will not be seeing the big chest because we don't have a small key to spare. But if you come in from cave state, you could get the big chest. That could matter.
No, but at this point, it's pretty much a trip just for that one check, right? So...
You know, I would not expect MrByer to do that except in really desperate circumstances, but it could just be like a consequence of the way they were out. For example, if Tam decides to use the cane to do the thief stuff, that just, you know, that doesn't actually do blind, that just bombs the attic and gets the key for desert. And then they might come back in through the Uncle Cave and then do the rest of thieves that way, which is also super efficient. They're both really good ways to do thieves with different pros and cons. You might have noticed that MrByer did LSD blind, which is not... Oh my goodness. Which is not just for fun. It's not just for show. This is so that... Ooh. Okay, this is so that he can walk out. He could also have used the desert pendant that fell to warp out. However, it can be valuable to leave the desert prize alone, because using that warp out, it does get you to the entrance of the dungeon that you killed the boss in. So that means that this would have taken him to the front of Thieves, which he can just walk to. But if he was doing Swamp and using that warp out, he could get to the front of Swamp, which could be really useful later on. But this is also risky because... No. Yeah, there's Zazaks everywhere. He's in low HP here. He has basically lost his access to the fake Dark World Village of Outcast screen and will have to instead continue on in desert as if he had just not done all of these. He did kill blind though.
Unless he chooses to go back and do all clip there again.
Yeah, he'd have to.
He could certainly do, but it's gonna take time.
He'd have to buy another potion.
Yeah, and money.
Money, yeah.
Time is money, or money is time, or
both.
One of those.
Tam did a YBA, which is the same thing MrByer did to get to Thieves' Town, but Tam did it to get to Ganon's Tower from Hookshot Cave. No, this is cave state. You are still in Hookshot Cave, so you have a whole bunch of small keys that you just have for free in caves, and you can spend them willy-nilly. And then the big key checks for one of those 4, which they have 2 of.
I do not think I could navigate this room blind like Tam is here.
I struggle with this. I have a visual cue that I use for the other version of this bomb jump, but because it involves the moving conveyor, it can be pretty tough.
Back when I did play No Logic, I just hovered that
just hover
gap. Forehead, right?
Looks like just rupees. I think that's maybe 1 heart piece, but I saw rupees. The last one was 1 rupee, if you're counting. Not much going on for Tam in that K-State Ganon's Tower play. At least not that we saw. Looks like they may have unwittingly gotten blue mail, which is fine because the other blue mail is sitting on Desert Torch and they can leave it behind. Blue mail is fine. Red mail is not fine. I think MrByer might be doing some route repair here, which is to return to Thieves Town using that Uncle Cave. One thing he can do is I said that he wasn't going to do this, but he's actually going to get the big chest of Thieves Town here. The reason he needs to do this
the
is
incentive for the fake Dark World again.
yeah, he wants the fake Dark World. There's 3 items in the Dark World there. He also wants the Thieves Crystal, if it is a crystal, because that's required. The killing blind by itself is not good enough. You have to do both. You have to kill the crystal bosses and collect their crystal, which, as you can see, can be done as separate things.
1 heart again.
I know.
So we'll probably see him leave and open it and then go back in. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, that's what I'm hoping to see.
Get the heart, please.
The heart. Oh
He's not getting the heart.
Fire, what are you doing? He still dies to his Zazak, I guess. So he could have boomed the heart and hoped for an extra. Also, there's like sparks here. Oh my goodness.
That's exactly where he died. He tried to boom that red Zazak and died to it.
Ooh, another rupee sale. Oh, that was the desert
detail,
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, the GT. MrByer still has to safely navigate out of here, or else this counts as an overall death because it's a cave. Oh, it's so scary.
Well, good thing we had Master Sword so that Zazak died.
Yes, that's true. Oh, now we get the heart. We're gonna check stun price.
Yeah, we're gonna check it on an enemy we can see. Never mind.
It's a lamp for Tam.
I'm getting their lamp. Yeah.
So Tam is still missing the King of Samaria, which was on. It was in the escape. It's going to put them at a. I'm not going to necessarily say disadvantage over MrByer. It definitely will later on. It's like the King is super powerful, but MrByer didn't do any Samaria stuff in desert, so what the stuff Tam does will probably be pretty similar to what Byer did, except probably maybe not the death. I mean, we don't know yet. But
Hey, it's a crystal.
yay. So at least the return trip was needed. It wasn't in vain. So this is a good time to ask, like, if TR is a pendant and Ice Palace is a pendant, which we know it's not, but let's just say if it was, would we be in go mode?
I'm definitely not the right person to ask.
Okay.
Like
if Bombos were to turn up. I think between them they might be in go mode, but that one of them would want one more bottle and one of them would want the cane.
Yeah.
The reason I was saying that we know it's not both as pendants is because we do know that desert is a pendant. Because MrByer saw it fall when he killed Blind while in desert state.
Oh yeah.
Gwen loves Oh No Go modes because she doesn't have to play them.
We're activating the flute.
That's right.
Or shortcut to the potion shop, right?
One of the benefits of Fake Dark World, it's also one of the cons, is that as soon as you exit the screen, you are back in the light world. Yeah, the potion bus. That's a great word for it. We actually really love the flute. It's also good access to the bomb and arrow upgrade shop. If you know the 20 isn't enough, you run out and you need 25.
Yeah.
And MrByer finally making his way up Tower of Hera. He'll have an easier Moldorm fight. Cam says definitely not to the red mail.
It's red mail. Where was the other mail upgrade?
I think it was in JT somewhere. Or like, it was on that route. Could have been in Pod. but Tam found it while doing that Pod GT play. So this is quadrant glitch again, which makes sense. Normally you would like go up here and YBA to the attic and then clip back down, but you don't do that if you're going to kill blind in desert, because clipping back down would require an extra trip back to the attic to do desert. Like, you don't want to enter thieves and then leave thieves and then enter thieves again. So you just do this here. Oh, no, we're not fine. I shouldn't have called this
hearts.
Shouldn't have called this an easier fight. Pam is showing us all the sound effects tonight. I think Tam really wants us to hear what MrByer's MSU is. What do you think?
Shoot, I knew what it was when the race started, but I can't remember now. I'm just glad that we can't toot the flute as fast as double speed hearts.
Mm-hmm. Or the book.
Oh yeah, it is the Kirby thing.
The Byer's pod play is going to look really similar to Tam's. Probably going to end in some form of Hookshot Cave access. But what he does after Hookshot Cave could be different. For example...
Yeah, having that cane could dip Turtle Rock.
Yeah, you could go to TR instead. One of the reasons you might do that is because he does have the hammer, and the cane can just walk into the front of GT and do it from the front. So going in from the back is not as valuable. The second one is that MrByer hates GT. Then the third one is that TR with the cane is full clearable. You can get every item in there except the big chest and Trinex with just the cane. You might need some keys, but you can get keys.
So MrByer, walked past the bridge chest.
Yes.
Hopefully on purpose?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what he wants to dupe. The reason you do that is because...
Is that chest, yeah.
That chest is like the same ID as one of these chests in the back, and if you find like a sword back here, you will want to have left that chest open so you can refill the sword chest. But Byer already has silver arrows and 2 swords and 2 bottles, so the only thing I think would be worth duping is the glove.
Baker's job is a piece of cake.
And by the way, is committing to the warp out. They didn't do all the C-blind. They're just going to collect the pendant and go to the front, which would have saved MrByer a lot of time from the death. Because even if he did die afterward, he would just be in Thieves Town and it would be fine.
Alright, now that we know there's nothing worth duping, we're opening the bridge chest.
He knew he was going to walk past it too, so it might just be something he always does, even if he doesn't care about dupes.
Seems like a good heads-up play to skip that one.
Doing this first. You usually don't do this if you are confident about your ability to do the hookshot cave stuff. Or you're confident that you will do it at all, like maybe he just won't do it. MrByer is not a hover, so Hookshot Cave might not even be on the mind. Now there are no enemies in Cave State Pod because the way we get here is we start at the bottom of the map and then we clip down and wrap around to the top of the map. And when you do that, all the enemies despawn.
think if you keep doing it enough, you can get them back. But it's gonna
Yeah,
take a bit.
it's like 18 times or something. I don't know how many, but it's a lot.
However many rows there are in the map. But yeah, leave and re-enter is definitely going to be easier. But then we don't have infinite keys anymore.
The MrByer is, I think, probably going to kill Helmosaur here, because you wouldn't backtrack. He's perfectly capable of doing the bomb juke. Just because he, like, perfected the quadrant glitch doesn't mean that he won't use other methods. I think he wants to kill Helmosaur. I think part of the reason he wants to do that is because it helps him get the knowledge of whether Trinex is required in this seed. And also, if it is, you know, a crystal, then it makes progress.
For a second, I was thinking, I was worried about not having big key because we have hammer and bow. I was like, oh, he can just go the normal way. But no, why would we do that? It's slow.
So this is a glitch called statue drag. This is like the standard way to do pod. Pod is kind of boring and no logic just because, well, it's not boring because of the hookshot cave stuff, but it's boring because this is the only way anyone ever does Helmosaur. It's just too good to compete with any of the other methods.
Yeah, so the statue drag lets you bypass the exit there and get back down to this. And then is it the camera desync?
Something like that.
So when you go through the door again and it sends you down another extra super tile.
There's a whole lot of camera manipulation, and that statue drag is like the only way to like juke north doors, and it's also one of the only ways to juke lobby doors, I think is what's happening, or just go through lobby doors without actually triggering them. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's a very special way to juke doors, and we're taking full advantage of it in here. MrByer is also trying to take full advantage of all of his items, including the bombs and the ability to count, which is hard because most people don't know how to like count bombs and hammer combos in Helma. Like everyone knows it's like 17 hammers and 5 bombs, but when you're using both, it can be hard.
Yeah, when you combine them,
nobody knows. I don't know. 5 is a weird number. They're both prime numbers.
It's 5 because it goes over, I think.
It does go over. If you do bombs and
Maybe
arrows,
it's 4 hammers each. I guess that math would work out.
Yes, yeah. If you do only bombs, Helma, and then you fire arrows, you can actually kill him with 1 less arrow than if you used hammers because of the rollover. Hammer's also thinking about Helma. The other reason Byer wants to do this is because I think he does prefer the quadrant glitch. He recognized that wasn't correct. I saw it as well. He moved before actually releasing the spin. What you want to do is you want to get on a very specific pixel here. You know, horizontal pixel, and then
the left-right pixel, right?
Yeah, you're trying to like,
and then just walk up to where you clink.
Meet the turtle, and then select buffer until the clink, and then you let go. If you can select buffer, it's not hard. The great thing about the Link to the Past is once you can select buffer, like most of the stuff isn't hard. If you can select buffer and you can hit 2 buttons at the same time, you can do most glitches. Is he gonna do his thing? Yes. Okay, this is the Byer special.
What is it? I don't think I've seen this.
2 more quadrant glitches.
2?
This is a north-south camera desync. Okay. So he did 1 here, and then he has to do another one to actually like fix the camera so that he can actually progress in the dungeon. It's kind of similar to the one in Eastern, actually. You do 2 quadrant glitches to desync your camera so you can get red Igors off screen. But what this will do is we'll destabilize his north-south subtile transitions. And his next north-south subtile transition will be in Hookshot Cave, and it will go to Ice Armos. But it'll skip the boss and just go straight to the items. So whatever Tam got there, Byer will just get Armos and probably never come back to GT unless he gets desperate. So far, that's fine, but there are probably things in there that both of them will be leaving behind pretty much forever. Man, this is probably the end of GT for a while for anyone.
It looked like MrByer was picking up pots there, but I guess it was a bomb.
Here is small. And a couple unknown items. Was that the mail? No,
One might have been arrows, I thought.
He's still on vanilla. I think one of the things that he likes about this is that he can get these chests and then leave. Which you can't do with any of the other methods. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I don't do it because I don't like orphaning all that GT stuff, but I can see the appeal of doing this. It's also the quadrant glitch itself is like not that easy. You have to count frames on the conveyor, which can be tricky. Tam is going to do something also conveyor related and also counting frames. Tam is making their own conveyor. But it's not for a quadrant glitch. This is a glitch called Overworld Conveyor. This is the first miss slot. This is Tam taking advantage of having the lamp and a bunch of... And Scylla, the stuff you use to splash delete, you can also use to do other glitches. This is one of them. It puts them in this clipping state where they go out of bounds off the map. They're actually like in the Lost Woods right now, and they have to let the conveyor take them upward. Oh my god, Byer's doing one too. I love this. This is a great race.
One up and one down.
This is, okay, Byer's doing, okay, we've all seen Meyer, right? This is what Tam is doing. This is like podunk. MrByer is doing something that nobody does. This is Swamp Palace. This is Left Side Swamp, I think. Let's see.
What?
Yeah, this is Left Side
Wow.
Swamp. I don't know. I think he's the only person who knows how to do this. He like posted it and it's like, oh, here's a way to get to Left Side Swamp. And it's like, oh, that's cool. I'm never going to do that because it's Left Side Swamp. But the flippers are
we
here.
get the flippers.
What a play.
I really like that ice water texture.
This is
That's
great.
Cool.
This is pretty, actually.
Tam successfully dodged the berry key.
But Tam is in Cave State Meyer now. That was the purpose of Tam. Tam's overworld conveyor. Byer's overworld conveyor is Cave State Swamp.
Map of swamp and flippers in left side.
I'm curious if we'll like do anything else in here. It looks like he will. Because I don't think it's... Well, he's gonna death warp. He's gonna go back to Turtle Rock. This isn't Cave State.
I was about to ask if
Turtle
his
Rock.
camera was fixed enough to be able to take doors anywhere, but
I think it's fine, but I misidentified. Obviously, he's in Turtle Rock, not Cave State.
Yeah.
So he's able to death warp out. Nobody corrected me when I said Cave State. Oh my goodness!
Infinite bottles.
Yes, Monka Swordless. Okay, so we got the bottles, the duping bottles. That chest is so good. What you can do is you can copy the lava chest onto that chest using a glitch with the Cane of Samaria, which happened so fast I didn't even like think to explain it. But it spoofs data so that the room you're in will have the data from the room above you. And when you open that chest, it'll actually open the lava chest instead. But because it's a big chest, the chest won't actually like become open. So you can open it as many times as you want. MrByer doesn't even... Wait, apparently has the big key. I didn't know this. I was gonna say he didn't need the big key to do that, but apparently he has it because he just got that map.
Yeah.
He also got the map. Was that the map of this dungeon?
Yes, it was.
And it's a pendant? So MrByer's go mode is a weapon for Cold Stare, which Tam found in Meyer. Apparently there's a fire out here.
Oh. Well, Tam was there doing that, what, podunk glitch you called it?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good glitch. It's just, you know, we've all seen it before. We were doing this in 2022. It's not shiny and new. But the fire rat is here.
Conveyor's that old too?
Conveyor's super old.
I'm old.
You're old.
My no logic knowledge is also old.
Oh, we're gonna die here? That's fine. I don't think he actually wanted to die here. Tam's conveyor is the one that, like, all the speedruns do. Like, all the no-EG rule set speedruns will do that conveyor to get to Meyer because the cane is there and that's what you want.
Okay, so MrByer's go mode is the bombos, or the fire rod, sorry.
Fire
What
rod
does
or
Tam
bombos,
still need?
of which there are 3. Tam needs
Information, right?
information. And then it remains to be seen whether 2 bottles is enough for Swamp Palace. I think Swamp Palace is the main issue for Tam. Because they don't have the cane. I don't think they have enough bottles to do Swamp. To do Argus.
I've got to shout out Tam's bunny sprite.
Yes.
I think it's amazing.
It's so good, especially when you're grinding on the slope like an actual skateboarder. It looks so good. I don't think the creator of the sprite really knew what Tam was going to do with it, but I really want them to see this because it looks amazing. I guarantee Tam uses the sprite specifically because of that. I think Byer is cleaning up some dungeons now that he's almost in go mode. This one's going to be... Oh, never mind. It's Meyer. This could be good for him. It depends on how much of Meyer he does while he's here. Now, just because they're close to go mode doesn't mean that the game is over, and doesn't mean that the person who's in go mode first is in the lead. Because there's a lot of stuff that both runners have to do to take care of Swamp and Meyer specifically.
Right, I mean, we only have 3 crystals each, so...
The Meyer crystal itself is hard because Quake apparently is the medallion for Meyer, and you can't actually get the Meyer crystal without the Meyer medallion without jumping through some serious hoops. There's another fire rod in Skullwoods. That is interesting. And actually, I didn't think about this, but MrByer needs a solution for Skullwoods too. I think there is a 2-bottle method that he could use, but I don't think it's going to be a priority for him. And of course, what's going to happen is he's going to walk in there with his 2 bottles and find the fire rod and not use them. So all he has to do is believe in himself. He doesn't actually have to do the glitch.
Right.
And Bombos also in Skull, which means that Byer has to go to either Skull or Meyer. And unfortunately, this is not going to take him to the fire rod because all he did was kill Vitreous, get the warp out. He's not going to be able to get back in without the Quake medallion, so he'll check the Meyer shed and leave. This is not going to lead him to the fire rod that he needs. So the best thing MrByer could find right now is the hookshot, because the hookshot would probably instantly lead him to Skull. Because hookshot would unlock a glitch called hook pushing, which lets you do a lot of things that basically go through walls. It's really powerful, and once you have that, Skullwoods is no longer hard. So he might be led to Skullwoods, and he might find his fire source there. But he is unlikely to actually enter Meyer at this point, knowing that the medallion is not the one he has. It's going to be hard for him to get in there without just making a dedicated trip to loot items. Tam has an advantage of go mode, but I don't think Tam's actually in go mode for Swamp Palace. I think they need one more thing.
We're back in desert. Are we going back to Meyer? No. What are we doing back in desert?
Oh, this is true.
Oh,
Tam
maybe we're
could...
going to Swamp?
Yeah, this is the swamp I like, because I'm not a fan of Death Hole. When you have the flippers and the Desert Small Key, and you're not in go mode, this is a really good play, in my opinion, because you can get 3 chests on the way to Argus. MrByer is taking advantage of having the flippers, because he can just do this Samaria corruption here, which again, it shifts his like room ID over by 1, so that when he takes the next north transition, it goes not just north, but also like north and to the east, which is Swamp Palace. He's having a little bit of trouble,
he walked through the door. Yeah.
Yeah, has to start over. Thankfully, Samaria glitches are easily repeatable, unlike YBAs. Like, if you drink the potion wrong, your potion's gone. Samaria,
you have a lot of messing up to run out of magic.
Yep.
Especially with half magic.
These glitches look fiddly. Oh, he's gonna give up and do Deathful, I think. He's just not feeling the East Samarias today. Wait, this isn't Deathful. Is he gonna get the blue mail? Let's go.
Okay.
The mirror for Tam. I think that's go mode, by the way. So the mirror is the one extra thing that Tam needed to do Swamp without doing the 2-bottle Deathful setup. Because Tam could do a glitch that's very similar to what MrByer was doing, but with bottles, and then follow it up with like a mirror YBA, which is like a bottle glitch but with the mirror, and that will be enough to reach Argus.
That's interesting that MrByer went and got the blue mail. Like, it's not a... Maybe it was just, oh, let me take a break and grab this.
Could be.
You know, and then come back to this.
I think Byer is starting to feel the pressure of go mode. Like, oh shoot, I'm still on green mail. I'm not doing the Deathful. I don't really need to be death warping as much anymore. So, I want to have survivability for the end. I appreciate that.
Okay, we got it.
We got it. So the next transition north will go to the diver down room. And MrByer will climb these stairs to fix the tile set so that all the doors work correctly. Otherwise the waterfall would just be solid. And he is now navigating back of Swamp with a broken camera. And the broken camera is sufficient to do a hookless Argus fight because you can scroll Argus off screen and get the puffs to go to phase 2. It gets rewarded with a sword, which is exactly why I like this play.
Nice.
Interestingly enough, Tam still doesn't know that TR is a pendant. So they're playing sort of blind, which may explain why Tam is going for the Crystal of Swamp before the boss.
I thought they already beat blind.
So they can get, the crystal here, and then if it's not a crystal, they don't have to worry about the boss. Because Swamp Boss is probably the hardest thing Tam has to do. Meyer Crystal might be the other hardest thing, but they know Meyer's a crystal. They're just hoping that something shows up. That makes it easier. So there's Argus down for MrByer. He'll actually get the warp out to the front of Swamp. Nope, he won't. When did he get the Swamp Pendant? Or the Desert Pendant? Maybe he didn't. Maybe he just doesn't care about the warp out, so he's just gonna leave. Okay, so Tam just has the Swamp Big Key, I guess. The Swamp Small Key. So this is Tam's solution to Swamp Crystal. It involves something called Fake Clippers, which is pretty difficult. It's one of the harder tricks that we do. Wait, MrByer hasn't done East Death Mountain yet? I could have sworn we saw this.
Okay, dude. No, don't slash.
Gosh.
Oh, no.
Tam is doing fake clippers. This is a whole bunch of basically like mimic clipping through the wall. It's really similar in inputs. There's a buffered version of this that people like me can do, so don't be intimidated by the sound of mimic clip mimic clipping through the wall, because mimic clip also can be done with select buffers. Kind of similar. Oh,
We
very
gotta be
important.
careful not to take damage here.
Yeah, you just have to time the spike. Don't worry about the little tektites. They can't really reach you that fast. You can hang out in that corner while the Cameron.
Cameron.
Yes. And then here you can get hit. That's fine. And then Tam has to do one more glitch to get back to Hera to collect the Swamp Crystal, because Tam is now actually in Swamp, but can't reach Argus from here, so has to get Argus in a separate trip once they find out it is a crystal.
Right, we drank the potion on the correct frame.
Failing, getting hit doesn't soft lock you. You just have to start over. You have to do the fake flipper again, and you have to do all the steps. This is the second of probably 3 trips to Moldorm for Tam. This one is for Swamp Crystal, the next one will be for Mire Crystal. So what's next for Byer? He's done his obvious dense overworld. He has to start thinking about where he wants to go. It looks like he's thinking about Swamp Crystal as well. But his Swamp Crystal will not require fake clippers. He can just go there.
Regular flippers, what?
From left side swamp. That is not an item you get unless you do that specific quadrant glitch.
Yeah.
But Tam is making slow but, steady progress. It's, going to be hard for MrByer to catch up the longer he goes without being in go mode, but at least he's making progress while doing it. Hopefully, the big question mark is, does MrByer know how to do a fireless Skullwoods? If he does, he might just go to Skullwoods and start taking care of it, and then he'll find the fire. But if he doesn't, he might never go there. And then he's in trouble.
He does have 4 bottles.
He could also just go there because, he runs out of ideas.
There's checks there.
He has checks there. He has the cane. It's easy to get them. If he gets the Moon Pearl, that can make it even easier. But he's not going anywhere that the Moon Pearl is likely to show up in. If anything is in Ice Palace, he's probably not getting that either. So Moon Pearl or Hookshot, which are the 2 things he can still find, are, he does not want those to be in ice, because he's probably not going there without the fire.
Tam opened the Pengator chest. Are they still looking for something? Or just, it's not that slow and it could be a sword?
I think it's that. I think it's Tam is calculating that the likelihood of finding a good item is high enough that it's worth opening chests that are on the way. And that the potential time save is measured in minutes, so it's worth doing.
Yeah.
Nothing really exciting will happen for Byer. He's just going to do the same stuff Tam did without the clipping. Get the crystal. And then make a decision. JD did point out that, the 2-bottle method for Skull involves Swamp Palace, so maybe he could go back in and then do that. And that's specifically for Mothula, not for... Yeah, that's actually a problem. If the 2-bottle method is not done from Skullwoods, he's not going to find the fire out here. If he kills Mothula, that's just Moth. That's not where the fire rod is. Which is actually worse. Yeah, you would have to do that and then go to Skull to get the prize, which is, it's the thing you would do last.
Nice key dash. Not like beeps.
Byer's doing extra checks. So, just trying to be a little bit more thorough in Swamp. Where is he going now? This isn't the YBA. Did he find something that I missed? Oh, he's doing Skull. So he'll actually get the swamp crystal on Moth. That makes sense.
That was really fast.
That was really fast. That was just wasn't that a precise back out, or is that imprecise because it was a super tile? I don't really know how that works. I've never done this before. It's not even on the glitch map. I would be hopeless in this seed.
Wait, he just did a west YBA. Now we're doing an east one?
I guess he's doing this to get the sprites back? Because he doesn't have them? Oh, Tam drank the potion. That's not good.
And if he ends up in Skull Woods, I guess then he'd be able to beat Mothula.
Yes,
back.
but this isn't the right part of Skullwoods to find the fire source. So Tam missed the YBA, drank the potion, and has to restart Ice Palace.
Oh, but it is the right part of Skull Woods to beat Mothula.
It's what the heck is this? He
It's an
doesn't
underworld
know.
conveyor.
That's Mothula's arena, but Mothula isn't there. That's the problem. So unfortunately, it didn't work out for MrByer. Maybe he'll just go to Skull instead and find the fire rod. That is sad because it was a really cool way to get Swamp Crystal, and unfortunately he needed Mothula to be dead for the Swamp Crystal to drop, so he couldn't just grab the Swamp Crystal and leave. He still has to do all of that again. He's getting the potions back. He might try again. This is what I mean by, you know, just because one player's in go mode first doesn't mean they're ahead.
Right.
Because stuff like this can happen in the end game with Tam missing the YBA and MrByer basically, I think, trying new tech that he's not comfortable with and getting some steps wrong, perhaps. Yeah, the glitch MrByer's doing does not look trivial. It looks like something you have to sit down and learn.
And the missed Cold Stare YBA is such a huge time loss.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate because that is just you missed an input. It's not like you can study for that. You can practice YBAs. It's one of the most miserable things to practice.
Right. Well, it looks like MrByer may be headed to Skull Woods. The other
Yeah,
SW
no, this is
dungeon.
really good for him. So if MrByer goes to Skull now, let's just assume he does. He finds the fire rod and he does Moth. He still has to go back to Swamp, get the crystal, and I don't think he's, you know, he hasn't done Ice yet either. So like he's still very behind. But Tam does have to pull off all the glitches, which is like all the stuff that's left for Tam is hard. So just because Tam is ahead doesn't mean that the race is over. The stuff that MrByer has left is easier. MrByer has better weaponry, can icebreaker and ice to get there faster. Actually, yeah, the hammer doesn't matter. We don't have glove. That was interesting to see, like, is MrByer going to find Bombos first or Fire Rod first? This looks like it will be Fire Rod. Because if he just walked in the front, he might have actually had Bombos go mode and then not gotten the Fire Rod. But probably would get it because of Moth. You know, his solution to Moth didn't work out, so he'd have to keep going. But Tam makes it into
Right,
Cold
we got the
Stare.
Tam Slam.
It's one of two methods to get into that hole safely. Yeah, with YBAs, I recommend using your whole body. It's kind of like using your whole hand to boots clip. Okay, Tam is fine. Yeah, once you have 2+ down, you're fine. They also have blue mail. There we go. 300 rupees for buyer, and then this next chest I think is the fire rod. Okay, never
Not a
mind.
shield.
he did the glitch. You might actually get Bombos first.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna fall again. Is it really faster to do that? I think he wants to hold on to his key. I'm trying to figure out why he would want that. That chest he opened that looked like it would have the fire on it was actually the big key chest. Because he copied some data using the Cane of Samaria. He's in go mode now. He's trying to just get the Wall Master out.
Right, that's the chest you would normally expect the fire rod to be in. the big chest. Oh, not big key
No,
chest.
that was
Oh,
the
I'm
compass. Yeah,
stupid.
no, he was
Just don't
copying
listen to me.
the big key chest onto that chest and then getting that real chest.
I mean, it's rando. I expect it to be anywhere.
And you just expect it to be in Skull Woods because it's random.
Yeah.
Why is he opening chests? Now we're not so. He's gonna find this bombos, isn't he? What are you looking for, MrByer? I guess hookshot would help. Quake would help. Moon Pearl. I guess there's enough stuff left. Glove. Even a glove would be really nice.
We're opening the front of desert.
Yeah, this is Tam's Argus plan. This is fine. This is probably closer to the door than going in the other way. Also, Tam has 2 keys. Why do they have 2 keys? I don't know.
One from Thieves Town, maybe?
Yes. Yeah. Because they got the warp out, and then they had the Thieves Big, so they didn't
And
have
they
to
hadn't
open.
opened the desert right yet.
They didn't have to open that small key door that replaces the big key door in Thieves, so they got to steal the desert key. Tam missed. No, Tam was correctly YBing. This is good. We're just gonna get the
We
item.
need a splash list.
Yeah, I don't know how to do this.
Either.
I don't think Tam really knows either. I guess Tam didn't need to adjust if they're just doing another YBA here. It's a good point. You can just
Alright.
go through.
MrByer got Mothula.
Oh, they do know how. Oh, that doesn't look
There we
hard.
go.
Okay. And they get the sword. That's the item they were hoping to find here. I mean, there are a lot of items they were hoping to find, but the sword is really good. The Tam has a pretty commanding lead now. Because this is probably the hardest part of the game for them. That and, like, Mire Crystal. Mire Crystal is just a bunch of YBAs. It's not that bad. And 2 bottles is sufficient. So this is the spin mirror door. So this is like a YBA with a mirror. And the sword spin to give some extra distance. You go more tiles forward with the spin. This is also going to break Tam's graphics in a pretty significant way, so be ready for that. Beep, beep, beep. Nice. That was a very good sound.
We still got music.
We do. That's because we're playing in the beta version. That fixes the bug that deletes your music when you do VRAM glitches. The buyer's solution to ice is a YBA as well. This is just to enter ice. I think Tam may have done this too. I forgot that MrByer has 4 bottles, 2 of which were in the Turtle Rock big key chest. So Tam successfully kills Argus and resets the console to get graphics back. So now has both the Swamp Crystal and the Swamp Boss, and now has to get the Mire Crystal and the Mire Boss. Knows that TR is the pendant at this point. I think that Swamp Crystal was probably the last bit of information they needed. That or the Ice Crystal. I like this Death Warp setup. I guess he wants to steal a key?
Oh, it was a setup.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just like, MrByer's on one heart again. What's happening?
I thought he was like trying to bunny revive. I'm like, why are you a bunny? You came in here from the light world. And you're using the fire rod. You can't do that as a bunny. Unless you're Kern.
Right. Small key, I guess, gets through the dungeon easier. I don't think we need more than one.
Yeah, you only need 1. You just need to be able to escape the hammerlocked room. Unless he wants to full clear the dungeon. So what's this for Tam? Why are we going back to desert?
It's near Mire.
Oh, it's because Tam hasn't killed Vitreous yet. MrByer killed Vitreous.
Now we can't drink any potion. Oh, just kidding. We're
I
taking a
thought
hit. from
Tam
the
did
bomb.
kill Vitreous. I
Not
thought they
even
did
blockbusting.
not in blockbusting. They don't have a glove. They can't blockbust.
They had the mirror, and they were pushing blocks.
I guess when they were in Cave Mire, they didn't have... Because they didn't have enough to do Vidi itself.
Good thing for the extra desert key.
Yes, it's true. That's the hover key. If you can't hover, you need that key. Or if you have the hook shot. Funny that they also need this key. It's very strange.
Yeah, there's
Because they don't-
locked in the back.
I guess Vitreous is kind of hard for Tam because they don't have the cane. MrByer successfully YBAs. Are they a slammer? Nope, they're a wiggler. Sorry, he's a wiggler. I prefer wiggling myself.
I used to wiggle.
You just start with right, and it always works. Oh, we missed the double spin. It's okay. We're not
That's
in
not
danger.
saying I switched to slamming. I just stopped playing
You
it.
just stopped playing. It's true. I think Tam Slam wasn't
Don't let this be
invented
an
yet.
endorsement.
I think Slam wasn't invented yet when you were playing No
I
Logic.
think it was right before I stopped. I remember needing to learn what it was and not getting around to it.
Tam gets through. I wonder if they just failed this the first time and I didn't notice. I could have sworn I saw them doing this, but there were also 2 races today and maybe I'm just seed bleeding. MrByer still needs his Swamp Crystal, still needs his Mire Crystal. But that does put MrByer just Swamp Crystal behind Tam. Because Tam doesn't have Mire Crystal. This is a pretty close race. This Mirador, by the way, is an eternity. It's like 2 or 3 minutes long. This is one of the slowest ways to get to Vitreous, but it's also Tam's only option that I know of. Other than climb Castle Tower and do it there, which would require some key door skipping. Yeah, this is a true coffee break. This is almost enough for MrByer to catch up. Yeah, 3 minutes includes the getting there in my timing. Yeah, you're right. It's 90 seconds for the Mirador itself. Unfortunately, MrByer failing the Mothulid Swamp Crystal is setting him back by quite a bit. Now, he can get time back in Mire Crystal because he has the Cane of Samaria. And he might be able to delete the sewer door and do all of the other stuff all in one go, whereas Tam will have to use 2 bottles to delete a door in Hyrule Castle that changes your dungeon ID from Pod to Mire when you walk through it. That door is the throne room door. Normally it changes your dungeon ID from Hyrule Castle to Castle Sewers. We take advantage of that. Byer just never had a key here. That sucks. I don't think you can get out of this. I guess... What happened here? I think what happened here was he did a YBA that reclosed that door. And also opened the other door. But he didn't open that door. That sucks. Oh, how is he gonna solve this now? He has to come through Pod, I think. Or do a quadrant glitch or something. So Tam has to delete the sewer door now. Mire's also deleting the sewer door. I guess this
Are we
is a
getting-
sort of...
We're getting a double sewer door.
Yes. Fire sewer door involves a little less. He did it. That was successful. Tam has to do a double YBA here. So they have to do a YBA and then back out a precise amount and then do another YBA.
Oh,
And
that's
that
the
was-
same back out as like going to Meyer.
Yep. It's the same YBA, really. Like, you realize that, like, after doing a lot of these, you realize a lot of them are just the same thing, done in different doors, in different directions. This is also pretty much identical to the one Tam used to get to Swamp. So now Tam has to buy potions again to actually get to the sewer door from Pod. The first one will be used for a wrong warp, and the second one will be used for... Oh, this is interesting. Is Spire going to unlock Swamp and do this all in one go? He could. If he has enough potions in his bottles, he could actually unlock Swamp with the pod key and then YBA back up to Hera.
Yeah, it looks like it. That's really good, right?
I think this is a really cool way to like solve your problem. Now, Tam is very much on their way to finishing the game. So it's just, you know, Tam will have to, I think, mess up a little bit for Fire to catch up because Fire has been set back quite a bit by this Swamp Crystal. But what a cool way to do this. Like, just click down and then YBA back up immediately.
Just a quick detour.
Just to unlock that door. Now, what this means is that MrByer will be the first to Mire Crystal if he's successful, but not by enough, I think, to actually make up for the fact that he also needs Swamp Crystal.
Swamp Crystal, yeah.
The only thing that could maybe help is that the fact that Tam also needs to do Aga 2 without the cane, which could be annoying. But it's not that
MrByer
hard.
already killed Argus, right?
Yes.
Okay.
MrByer did that Samaria corruption in Desert, and then walked to Argus.
He
And-
forgot where he was going, I think.
Oh, interesting. Look at this.
I
Sync
think
clips. Let's go. Another, you know, basically the difference is that Tam has a crystal MrByer doesn't have. And that MrByer, in theory, has like an easier way to get to Aga 2, but not enough to make up for the crystal. Both of them.
getting the chest.
Yes. Both of them just uncomfortable enough to want that item. I don't even know what Tam is hoping is there.
The cane for getting to
Yes,
Aga 2.
yeah. What's funny, the thing is, the cane is in the escape, just not in the right part. Fire, you need some damage. Okay, no, he must have taken rat damage. He had like quarter heart missing. So Tam is the first one back into Hera. There's a lot of back and forth in here. This is the second time MrByer has gone to another dungeon and then back to Hera in this trip. But the important step to that was that they did pass through the door that changes your dungeon IDs so that the Mire Crystal will drop instead of the Pod Crystal. And that's Mire Crystal from MrByer. Tam will just do a pit stop for a couple potions. The potions will be used to get to Aga 2 from most likely Turtle Rock. But MrByer has some more stuff to do here, which he did flood the dam, right?
I don't think he did in this trip.
Maybe he did it early enough. Like, maybe he did it before he did all of this, which would be sufficient.
That's like
Because he hasn't
galaxy
actually
brain.
he hasn't actually left the mountain in all of this. As long as you flood the dam before you start any of this play, you should be fine. Actually makes sense because remember that he did do it. He tried to get Swamp Crystal and then he saved and quit. The dam was still flooded from that. So Tam is doing a mirror-assisted teleport. This is a way to get over this hump as a bunny without actually having to do bunny clipping. You just do link clipping over your portal and let the portal take you back. And then you skateboard over the ledge.
You grind up the mountain a little bit.
Yes.
Wow, it is flooded. Amazing.
It is flooded, yeah. This is some real long-term thinking. I love seeing long-term thinking. There's some little death warp setup here. Man, this would have been a win for MrByer, I think, if that moth play had worked out. Assuming he did just go to Skullwoods next. Which he would do to get the crystal, I think. So. Ham has to cross this gap using a bomb jump. The bomb jump is like weird because there's a lot of pixels that work, but they're not where you expect them to be. So you just have to like know them, or at least know one of them. And then the actual path to Agatu will involve this YBA here. Puts you in the lava, and the lava leads to Agatu. As MrByer breaks his swamp crystal.
Oh no.
Smoldorn pulling a lot of weight. Oh, that should have been a triple. This is so close. They might actually... Oh, we're doing an overworld conveyor. I think MrByer will enter Ganon as Tam exits Ganon, but we'll see, because Byer will also have to do a pretty long death warp. It might not be quite that close, actually. Is conveyor really that much faster than mirror assisted teleport? I mean, I know it was slower for Tam because they had to like try it twice, but mirror assisted teleport's pretty fast. Was that 1-on-1? Yes. You just don't do extra roll transitions. So Byer's method to Agatu is a North Samaria. And then when he transitions through this door, takes him into the lava. Or I'll just lava diving. It's all the same thing.
Like we're not gonna make it to Ganon before Tam's
No,
done.
not quite. Tam's Ganon was just a little too good. Very close race though. It really was unclear like who had the advantage for a long time.
Get your GGs in chat for Tam. Oh, we should have been listening to this music earlier.
I said it.
We are joined by Tam. GG's.
Just one more. And it's letting Mr. Byer cook. Oh. No, not the book. Don't cook the books. Alright, we got it.
Pretty close race after all that. 2 minutes ish.
Yeah, I mean, it really was just that Swamp Crystal being a problem for Mr. Byer. I think his equipment advantage was otherwise sufficient to keep him in the game despite Tam just having more crystals.
Hello.
Hello, GG.
GG's.
It's a pretty cool race. You should watch it back because there were some really good high five moments.
Yeah.
And lots of speed sinks. It was fun.
Oh, man. Ah. I feel like if I did just a couple things. If I didn't die at really bad times, that.
Yeah, the Thieves Down death, if you had just taken the prize warp out, I think might have made the difference. It's hard to say this one thing is the difference. I would say that the main thing was Swamp Crystal, the YBA closing your door and you have to reopen it. Like nobody expected that. You know, that failing in the first place. Like any one of those things could have gone better, but that's just how no logic is. Like Tam also missed a YBA in ice and had to redo it. Had worse equipment. So it was really just both of you having subpar equipment and doing, your best with it. And of course, in any no logic game, that's not always going to go smoothly for everyone all the time.
Yeah.
But I was impressed with your innovation, especially in the end game when you were unlocking Swamp while doing the Mire dupe. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I was very kind of panicked for a second there, and I was trying to think of ways to open the door, but I realized since I'm coming from Pod for Meyer, then I think I had just enough YBAs to do all of it in one trip, and I still kept my the dam flooded.
Yeah, keeping your dam flooded. I want to like count like how many minutes did you spend with that flooded dam, because it seemed like you got a lot done between when you first flooded it and when you actually used it. And of course, Tam is probably wondering where your flippers were.
That's a left side swamp,
Classic.
along with the swamp map, which didn't end up mattering, but yeah.
It's the second funniest map of the seed.
Well, I would say the Turtle Rock map was more useful for MrByer than it was for you. 'Cause
Well, it
that
was
was
funny for me in the situation that I got it in.
yes.
When I got it, I had to think if I was in go mode, and I thought I was, but I forgot about beating ice. So
It was
luckily I didn't skip that much before I realized. So I didn't like
the
isolate.
other fire rod was in Meyer, and both you probably noticed both fire rod and bombos were in Skull, so you really just had to go to Skull in this one. You were never gonna go back to Meyer with the way you did Vidi and the Quake not being in the game. Usually people don't enter Medallionless Meyer once they've already killed Vitreous until they get really desperate. So Skullwoods was your only hope.
I was feeling really good for about 2 minutes about that fire rod. And then it didn't matter.
Yeah. I knew that in my practice, fire rod at Skullwoods is one of my weaknesses, because I only go to Skullwoods if I can beat it, so I had to think of a way to deal with it outside of that. I was gonna spin YVA to Hera, although I haven't practiced it, so I don't quite remember how to do it.
It's a hard one to remember. Sorry, my mic. That was a hard one to remember because you have to do it differently depending on whether you use a red or a blue. It changes the pits, and the red gets VRAM as well. You have to know where to find the pits. So I haven't done this since multi-world. This is like one of the only seeds where you would ever do that.
Really useful in 10.5.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, 10 crystals, 5 bosses.
Yeah.
Do you know what went wrong with your Mothula attempt?
I think I either backed out of the door or not enough or too much. I don't know if there's a max limit on how how much you can go out. I practiced it when Tasha posted it, and it seemed like the window was pretty generous, so I kind of just winged the back out like I do for pod. But it didn't work that time, so
Yeah, I guess with the super
might
tile
have backed out
YBA,
too
you would
much.
expect a wing it to work, but the subtile YBAs require like a 2 pixel range. But that was a super tile, so I don't know how it works at all. I'm asking you because I don't know, not because I know.
Yeah, I didn't rigorously test it. I just I did it, and then it felt like a generous enough window that I didn't need to worry about learning the limits, but apparently not. But if I did get it, I would have knocked up both Mothula and Swamp Crystal at the same time.
So I have a question for Tam as well. Were you in go mode before Mirror? Did you have a plan for Argus and the other stuff you had to do?
I don't think so, but I wasn't thinking about it. So I got the mirror and I was like, oh, now I can do Argus. I mean, I was kind of... I don't think I was going to commit as hard to beating the game as I did without the mirror, so I probably would have gone to Escape or something.
Oh yeah, that was Kane.
Yeah, I was sort of struggling at multiple points in the sea to figure out stuff to do. Before the fire rod, it was we had 2 bottles and a bunch of weapons, but I still didn't know what to do.
It was a tough seed, for sure. Probably just all the good stuff in Eastern. Maybe parts of TR we didn't see because it's a pendant.
Yeah, this is the exact seed where Easton being a pendant just screws you. It's so many items, but you're like, I'm not doing a pendant.
Yeah.
So there will be a game 3, which is exciting because game 1 and game 2 are both really good. That's not on the schedule yet, so keep an eye out on the schedule for this game 3. Tomorrow we'll be racing. Oh, there's a double. Wait. Oh, I see. There's a rescheduled race. I need to delete it. There are 2 games happening more or less at the same time tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then the second game starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Other than that, we are coming to not quite a close of this tournament, but it is winding down. So don't miss any of the remaining races because they will all be very exciting and you don't want to run out of races to watch. So, Sleepy, any final words from you before we finish this one?
Oh, I mean, just it was fun to watch. Thanks for putting on a good show for us.
Thanks for the restream.
Yeah, thanks for the restream.
Thanks, Malmo, for joining me. I guess I joined you. Same thing.